A
Reroute
princess's
auxiliary
bold
power to
choice.
the
She
shields.
demands a human
If we don't
soldier
hold
as
them
her mate.
off, this entire sector
Twin
is
suns
lost.
cast golden light on towers of crystal and metal, where airships floated gracefully between spires like silent guardians. From her balcony in the Grand Palace, Princess Lyra watched the city below with calm determination. Today was no ordinary day. Today, she would make a choice that would shock not only her court but the galaxy. Lyra was known across Violia for her intelligence, courage, and unwavering sense of justice. She had been trained in diplomacy, war strategy, and interstellar law since she was a child. But Lyra's spirit had always reached beyond the palace walls, beyond the rigid customs of her people. And now, she was about to challenge a tradition centuries old. In the vast throne room, her advisors waited with cautious anticipation. The walls gleamed with holographic tapestries depicting past rulers, each one carefully selecting a mate from Violia's noble families. It was a sacred tradition, one that had kept the kingdom stable for generations. Yet Lyra felt strongly that the future required something different. She descended the steps of her balcony and stood before the gathered council. The room fell silent. Her violet eyes scanned the faces of her advisors, some filled with respect, some with doubt. "I have made a decision," Lyra announced, her voice steady, yet carrying an authority that commanded attention. "I will not marry a Violian noble. Instead, I choose a human soldier as my life partner." A gasp swept through the room. Some advisors whispered among themselves, their faces turning pale. Humans, outsiders from the distant Earth Alliance, were considered primitive and reckless by Violian standards. They had never ruled, never led great armies, and their technology was simple compared to Violia's advanced machines. "Your Highness," one elder counselor finally spoke, his voice trembling, "surely you jest. A human. They are unpredictable, unrefined." "How can you make such a choice?" Lyra lifted her chin. "I do not jest. Humans possess qualities our kingdom lacks: courage, resilience, and ingenuity. These are the traits we need, especially in times of uncertainty. I will not marry out of tradition. I will marry someone whose character strengthens our people." Another counselor, younger and braver, stepped forward. "But Highness, what about the kingdom's laws? Our rulers have always married within Violia to maintain peace and stability. Choosing a human may destabilize our alliances." Lyra smiled faintly, her voice calm but firm. "Perhaps, but stability without growth is weakness. Our laws should serve our people, not bind them to fear. I have observed humans for years, studied their ways, and I am convinced they have qualities we must embrace, and I have chosen one among them to meet me." At that moment, a soft hum filled the room. The doors at the far end opened, revealing a human soldier standing tall. Captain Aaron's posture was straight, disciplined, and alert. He wore a uniform that was simple compared to the intricate robes of Violian officials, but it spoke of purpose. His brown eyes scanned the room with curiosity, and when they met Lyra's, he gave a respectful bow. "This is Captain Aaron of the Earth Alliance," Lyra announced. "He will be my guest, and if he proves worthy, my partner." Whispers erupted through the throne room. Some courtiers muttered incredulously, others simply stared in shock. The elder counselor stepped forward, his voice tight with tension. "Your Highness, surely there must be tests. A human cannot simply walk into our court and claim such an honor." Lyra's expression did not waver. "Of course, there will be tests, challenges to show his worth. But let it be clear, my choice is not a whim. I will judge him as I would any noble suitor, with fairness, with rigor, and with the expectation that he shows strength of mind and heart." Aaron remained quiet, his calm demeanor contrasting with the tension around him. He understood the stakes. One wrong move, one misstep, and this could turn hostile. Yet he felt a strange sense of destiny. Humans were often underestimated by alien civilizations, yet time and again they had proven their ingenuity and courage. Perhaps this was his moment to demonstrate it once more. Lyra gestured to Aaron. We shall begin tomorrow. Captain, are you prepared to face what is to come? Aaron nodded. I am, Princess Lyra. I will do my best to earn your trust. The council muttered among themselves, some skeptical, others intrigued. They could not deny the princess's determination. No one in recent memory had dared challenge tradition so openly. The room gradually emptied, leaving Lyra and Aaron standing alone in the vast hall. Lyra turned to him. You may find our customs strange, even frustrating, she said softly. But understand this, respect is earned, not demanded. Show honor, show courage, and you will have my trust. Fail, and well, you will fail. Aaron gave a small, confident smile. I accept the challenge. I will not disappoint you. The next morning, the first test began. It was a simple exercise by Vireland standards but designed to measure wit, judgment, and patience. Lyra led Aaron to a simulation chamber, where holographic scenarios presented complex moral and strategic dilemmas. You will face a series of situations, Lyra explained. Some test intellect, some test courage, and some test empathy. How you respond will determine your suitability. Aaron focused intently, analyzing each scenario with care. The simulations were unlike anything he had faced in human training. Some involved negotiating peace between warring alien factions. Others required tactical decisions in virtual combat. At first, he hesitated, studying the nuances of Vireland values, but soon his natural instincts took over. He applied human creativity and logic, balancing bravery with caution, empathy with strategy. Lyra observed silently, noting each decision. She was impressed. Aaron's approach was unlike any Vireland she had ever seen. While her people valued efficiency and order above all, Aaron's choices reflected adaptability, innovation, and moral strength. Hours passed. The chamber finally powered down. Lyra stepped forward. You have done well, Captain. Your human perspective is refreshing. But this is only the beginning. Tomorrow you will face a challenge beyond simulations, one that tests your ability to act under pressure in the real world. Aaron bowed. I will be ready. Later that evening, Lyra walked alone through the palace gardens. The twin moons of Virelia bathed the crystalline flowers in soft silver light. She thought about the council's reactions, about Aaron, and about what it meant to be a leader willing to defy expectation. Her mind wandered to the coming challenges. She knew the road ahead would not be easy. Humans were strangers to her people, and many would resist the change she proposed. Yet, she felt a deep certainty. This choice, bold as it was, could bring strength to her kingdom in ways her ancestors could never imagine. Aaron, meanwhile, sat quietly in his quarters, reviewing what he had learned about Virelia. He marveled at the elegance of the architecture, the complexity of their politics, and the discipline of their society. Yet beneath it all, he sensed opportunity. Humans were underestimated across the galaxy, but here, he had a chance to show what they could truly achieve. The night passed slowly. When dawn arrived, the first test of real-world courage awaited. Lyra and Aaron would journey to the crystal expanse, a vast field of floating mineral formations, to negotiate a peace between two rival alien clans. Many had attempted this before, and few had succeeded. It was a task requiring intellect, patience, and bravery. As they prepared to leave the palace, Lyra looked at Aaron with a mixture of challenge and hope. The galaxy may doubt humans, she said, but I believe they have the power to surprise us. Prove me right, Captain, Aaron smiled, gripping his satchel of tools and devices. I will do more than that, Princess. I will show them what humanity can do when it works with honor and courage. And so, the journey began. The princess's bold choice had set the stage for an adventure that would test not only Aaron's abilities, but the very assumptions of a kingdom. Tradition would clash with innovation, fear with courage, and in the process, both princess and soldier would discover that the strength of the heart could change the fate of worlds. Above them, the twin suns rose, casting light on a new chapter, one that promised danger, discovery, and a bond forged through courage. The kingdom of Vyrlia would never be the same again. The next day began with soft golden light spreading across the sky of Vyrlia. The palace slowly came to life, but everyone knew today was important. The princess had chosen a human soldier to stand beside her, and now the real test of his worth would begin. The council still doubted him. Many nobles whispered that humans were too emotional, too simple, and too unpredictable. But Princess Lyra believed something different. She believed humans had strength in their hearts that many powerful species had forgotten. Aaron woke early, calm but focused. He was a soldier, trained for many missions, but this felt different. This was not just about survival or victory. This was about proving that humanity deserved respect in a galaxy where it was often looked down upon. He stood near his window, watching the bright sky, and quietly promised himself he would not fail. Princess Lyra met him in the main hall. She wore ceremonial armor made of shining silver plates, elegant yet strong. Aaron bowed simply and respectfully. Lyra nodded with approval. "Today," she said, "we travel to the Crystal Expanse. There is conflict there. Two alien clans live there and they are close to war. I want to see how you handle real danger, real tension, and real people. This is your test." Aaron nodded. "I understand. I will do everything I can to help." They boarded a sleek royal airship, its engines humming smoothly as it rose above the palace. The wind was calm, the sky bright, but the mood inside the ship was serious. Lyra stood near the front window while Aaron studied the terrain below. Floating crystal islands drifted like slow-moving clouds, each glowing softly in strange blue and purple light. It was beautiful, but beneath that beauty was danger. Two Vyrlian guards traveled with them. They watched Aaron carefully. They did not trust him yet, but they could not deny the calm confidence he carried. One guard whispered to another that humans were strange. They had weaker bodies than many alien species, yet they survived again and again in harsh environments. It confused them. It impressed them a little too. When they landed at the Crystal Expanse, the air around them shimmered with energy. Massive crystal pillars hung in the sky, connected by glowing bridges. Beneath them was nothing but endless atmosphere. One wrong step meant falling forever. It was a place where only the brave or the foolish dared to walk. Two groups waited on opposite floating platforms. One clan had armor decorated with sharp crystal edges, their faces cold and stern. The other clan wore softer armor but carried heavy weapons, showing clear frustration and anger. They had been arguing for weeks over territory and resources, and their anger was reaching a breaking point. As soon as Lyra arrived, both sides bowed to her. She was respected as their princess, but even respect had limits when anger burned so strong. "We honor your presence, princess," one leader said, "but we cannot accept peace. They threaten our lands." "They lie," the other leader argued. "They want everything for themselves." Aaron listened quietly. He did not jump in or interrupt. Instead, he watched their faces, their body language, the way they spoke. He noticed fear behind their anger, and he knew fear often caused people to fight. Lyra turned slightly toward Aaron. "This is your test," she said softly. "I will watch. I will not interfere unless danger becomes too great." Aaron stepped forward, calm and respectful. "I am Captain Aaron from Earth," he said. "I am not here to control you. I am here to understand you and help you find a better way." The alien leaders stared at him. A few warriors laughed quietly. A human solving their problem, impossible, they thought. Aaron asked simple questions first. "Why do you fight? What are you afraid of losing? What do you want to protect?" The clan spoke angrily at first, but Aaron kept his patience. He did not shout. He did not argue. He listened. Slowly, they began to explain. Their energy crystals were becoming unstable. One clan feared losing their only safe home. The other feared their people would starve if they were pushed away. Both sides were scared. Both sides wanted to protect their families. They were not truly enemies. They were simply desperate. Aaron looked at the floating crystals around them. He remembered reading Virelian reports about instability in this region. He suddenly understood something important. "You are both right to worry," he said. "But fighting will destroy both of you. These crystals are not permanent. Soon, they will break. This place is dangerous for long-term living. Instead of fighting over weak land, you should work together to move your people somewhere safer." The leaders frowned at first, then slowly listened more carefully as Aaron explained. He showed them data he had stored about unstable structures. He suggested combining resources, not competing for them. He proposed plans for shared protection, support systems, and mutual defense. Lyra watched him with quiet admiration. He was not just strong, he was thoughtful. He did not push his ideas with force. He guided them with understanding. Still, not everyone was convinced. One impatient warrior shouted that humans were weak and foolish. He stepped forward angrily, his weapon glowing. The tension exploded. Soldiers from both clans suddenly raised their weapons. The air hummed with dangerous energy. Lyra instinctively stepped forward, but Aaron raised his hand slightly, asking her silently to let him handle it. He moved slowly, without fear, and stood between both sides. He had no glowing armor like them, no powerful alien weapon. He simply stood there, calm and strong. "If you fire," he said, "someone innocent will be hurt. Maybe a child, maybe a parent. You will regret it forever. Anger will win, but your hearts will lose." His simple words carried unexpected weight. The warriors hesitated. The leaders looked at Aaron and saw not arrogance but honesty. Slowly, one weapon lowered, then another, and then all of them. Princess Lyra let out a soft breath she did not realize she was holding. The leaders finally agreed to talk calmly. For hours, Aaron helped them build a fair agreement. They would share resources. They would support each other. They would prepare to move their people to safer land together instead of fighting alone. By the end of the meeting, there was no shouting, only tired peace and reluctant respect. Before leaving, one clan leader looked at Aaron carefully. "Human," he said, "I did not expect wisdom from your kind. Today you changed my thinking. Perhaps humans are not weak. Perhaps they are different in a useful way." Aaron smiled modestly. "I am just one human. There are many like me. We may be different, but difference is not weakness." When they returned to the airship, the Virelian guards who once doubted him now looked at him differently. They whispered among themselves, impressed by how a human had solved something many Virelians could not. Lyra stood beside Aaron silently for a while. Wind flowed gently past them as the ship moved through the sky. Finally, she spoke. "You handled everything with calm strength," she said. "You did not try to dominate them. You guided them. You made them see reason. My council will have difficulty arguing against what you showed today." Aaron nodded respectfully. "I only did what I thought was right." Lyra smiled softly. "That is exactly why it matters." Back at the palace, news spread quickly. The princess and the human soldier had stopped a possible war. Some nobles were surprised, some were impressed, some were uneasy, but no one could ignore what had happened. That night, Lyra stood on her balcony again, watching the glowing city. She thought about Aaron's actions, his patience, his courage without aggression. He had saved lives without violence. He had shown strength through wisdom, and something inside her heart felt lighter. Aaron sat quietly in his room, thinking too. He had faced battle many times, but this day felt important in a different way. He had not only protected people, he had changed minds. And this was only the beginning. The days following the Crystal Expanse mission were filled with quiet tension in the palace. Word of Aaron's success spread quickly, reaching every corner of Virelia. The council could no longer openly oppose him, though some still whispered doubts behind closed doors. They did not understand how a human, considered primitive by their standards, could accomplish what seasoned Virelian diplomats had failed to achieve. Princess Lyra, however, had seen enough. She trusted Aaron not because of his rank or training, but because of his courage, patience, and sense of fairness. Aaron had grown more comfortable within the palace walls. He learned quickly about Virelan customs and protocols, yet he refused to forget his own sense of humanity. He did not bow excessively, nor did he speak to impress. He spoke with honesty, clarity, and calm confidence. These qualities were rare in the eyes of many Virelians, and they made people listen. Lyra observed him carefully. His actions were not just about success in challenges. They revealed the heart of a person. She admired that he did not seek glory, only the right outcome. Even in small interactions with palace staff, Aaron treated everyone with respect, offering simple words of encouragement and thanks. This behavior, unnoticed by some, strengthened his presence far more than power or authority could. One morning, a new threat arrived. Scouts reported that a neighboring empire, the Draxian Dominion, had noticed the recent unrest at the Crystal Expanse. They saw Virelia's need for cooperation and perceived it as weakness. Their fleets were on the move, aiming to pressure the kingdom into submission. Lyra's advisors panicked, urging the princess to call for reinforcements and prepare for defense. The council's worry was visible. They feared that a conflict with the Draxians could overwhelm the kingdom's forces. Lyra, however, remained calm. She had seen Aaron's abilities, and she believed that their strength lay not only in numbers but in ingenuity and courage. She called him to her strategy room, a large chamber filled with holographic maps and glowing star charts. Aaron entered, his posture steady. "You called for me, princess?" he asked. "Yes," Lyra said. "We face a threat that may be larger than the Crystal Expanse dispute. The Draxian Dominion is approaching. We must protect our people, but I do not want a battle that destroys lives unnecessarily. I want to see how humans approach strategy under pressure." Aaron studied the maps. The Draxian fleet was massive, far larger than Virelia's defensive forces. Traditional tactics would fail. He knew this immediately. "Their strength is in numbers and intimidation," he said. "But their fleet is not coordinated. We can use that to our advantage. I have an idea, but it will require trust from your soldiers and willingness to act differently than usual." Lyra nodded. "You have my trust. Show me." Over the next few hours, Aaron explained his plan. He would organize small, agile units to outmaneuver the Draxians, using surprise and intelligence rather than sheer force. He suggested using the terrain of nearby asteroid fields and energy currents to create confusion among the enemy fleet. The strategy was unconventional by Virelian standards, but it made sense. The council members who observed the meeting whispered nervously. Many could not accept the idea that a human could command such authority in strategic matters. Yet they could not deny the logic in Aaron's plan. When the Draxian fleet finally arrived, tension filled the skies. Massive ships glinted under the twin suns, engines roaring with power. Virelian soldiers lined the platforms, prepared for combat. Lyra stood at the front with Aaron, her hand resting lightly on the railing of the command deck. Aaron gave calm instructions, guiding the soldiers and fleet captains. His confidence was contagious. Humans had a way of acting decisively in uncertainty, and the Virelians began to respond with similar confidence. The battle began with rapid movements. Small Virelian units darted between asteroids and energy streams, confusing the Draxians. Aaron directed these units with precision, anticipating enemy moves and adjusting strategy in real time. Lyra watched closely, amazed at how calmly he handled chaos. Despite the Draxians' superior numbers, Aaron's approach worked. He created pockets of confusion, forcing the enemy to split their forces and overextend. Virelian units struck with precision, targeting critical systems and avoiding unnecessary casualties. Soldiers who once doubted the human leader now moved with purpose, inspired by his example. Lyra herself became involved in coordinating defensive measures, blending her royal authority with Aaron's tactics. Together they led the kingdom's forces, showing unity between human innovation and Virelian discipline. Hours passed. The battle tested everyone's skill, courage, and patience. But the Draxians, unprepared for such coordinated resistance, began to retreat. Their fleet withdrew, leaving Virelia victorious with minimal losses. After the battle, the palace erupted with celebration. Soldiers cheered not only for their survival but for the human who had led them with wisdom and courage. Aaron remained humble, simply thanking those who fought alongside him and giving credit to Virelian leadership. Lyra approached him in private later that evening. They walked together in the palace gardens, the air cool and fragrant. "Today you showed more than strategy," she said. "You showed that courage and intellect together can overcome fear, even against overwhelming odds." Aaron smiled slightly. "I only did what humans do when we face challenges. We adapt, we cooperate. We do what is necessary to protect others." Lyra nodded thoughtfully. She realized that the qualities she admired in humans, resilience, ingenuity, and moral courage, were exactly what her kingdom needed to survive and thrive. Aaron had not only proven his worth in challenges and simulations, but had also demonstrated leadership in life-and-death situations. Over the next days, the council began to change. Skeptical members who once whispered against Aaron now acknowledged his abilities. Some approached him cautiously, seeking advice on strategy or leadership. Even those who remained uneasy could not ignore the results. A human had saved the kingdom from a potential invasion, and had done so with honor, courage, and respect for all life. Lyra observed these changes silently. She had taken a bold step in choosing a human as her partner, but she had not expected that his actions would transform her people's view of humanity so quickly. The ripple effect was clear. Aaron's bravery, intelligence, and fairness were opening minds, breaking down prejudice and inspiring hope. One evening, while walking through the palace corridors, Aaron encountered a group of young cadets training in strategy simulations. They had been inspired by his actions and were eager to learn. He stopped to watch them, then offered guidance, demonstrating simple tactics and the importance of thinking beyond fear. The cadets listened intently, absorbing his words. "You see," he told them, "victory is not just about strength. It is about thinking, understanding, and acting with courage and care. Anyone can fight, but few can lead without losing themselves or the people they care for." Lyra, observing from a distance, felt pride and admiration swell inside her. This was why she had chosen him, not because of titles, ranks, or appearances, but because he embodied qualities that transcended species. Humanity, she realized, could shine even in alien worlds when given the chance. As night fell over the crystal towers of the palace, Lyra and Aaron stood together on the balcony. The stars above twinkled brightly, reflecting in the crystal spires below. "The future will not be easy," Lyra said softly. "There will be more challenges, more threats, and more people who doubt your kind. But I believe in you. And more importantly, I believe we can show everyone the value of courage, wisdom, and unity." Aaron placed a hand on the balcony railing, looking out at the city below. "I do not seek to impress, Princess. I only want to do what is right. If my actions inspire others, then that is a reward enough." Lyra turned to him with a gentle smile. "You have already inspired many. And this is only the beginning." The kingdom of Virelia had seen a glimpse of a new path, one where humans and aliens could work together, where courage and ingenuity were valued over tradition and fear. Princess Lyra's bold choice was no longer just a personal statement. It was becoming a symbol of hope and strength. As the twin moons rose over the horizon, casting silver light across the city, Lyra and Aaron knew that greater challenges awaited. But they also knew that together, combining human adaptability with Virelian strength, they could face anything. And in that knowledge, The first seeds of trust, respect, and perhaps even friendship, and something more, were beginning to grow. The days that followed the Draxian threat were tense but filled with preparation. Princess Lyra knew that while the immediate danger had passed, the galaxy was unpredictable. Alliances shifted quickly, and enemies watched for any sign of weakness. She could not allow Violia to be caught off guard again. Aaron spent much of his time with the kingdom's commanders, studying fleet movements, training soldiers, and suggesting improvements. He moved through the palace with quiet confidence, respected by the staff, admired by the cadets, and cautiously observed by skeptical council members. Even those who doubted him began to see the strength humans brought, not through size or technology, but through intelligence, adaptability, and courage. Lyra observed him frequently. She was not only learning from him, but also considering the impact of his presence on the kingdom. He was changing perceptions, inspiring action, and building unity where there had once been suspicion. She realized that choosing him had been a risk, but one that was now proving invaluable. One morning, a new message arrived from the edge of the galaxy. A rogue faction of mercenaries had begun attacking supply convoys between planets, creating instability in trade routes critical to Violia. If left unchecked, the disruption could threaten the kingdom's economy and safety. "We cannot allow them to continue," Lyra said firmly, her eyes bright with determination. "But I do not want another unnecessary battle. Aaron, your judgment will be crucial." Aaron studied the reports. "They are well armed but poorly organized. If we coordinate carefully, we can stop them without large-scale conflict. Speed, intelligence, and surprise will be key." Lyra nodded. "Then we begin immediately." The next day, they traveled to the region where the mercenaries had been active. Aaron analyzed the enemy positions, observed patterns, and spoke with local commanders. His approach was methodical. He encouraged the Violian soldiers to use their advanced technology intelligently rather than relying on sheer power. He demonstrated how small, well-planned moves could achieve what massive fleets often could not. As the operation began, Aaron divided the forces into small, agile units. Each unit had clear instructions and backup plans, ensuring that no soldier would be left vulnerable. Lyra coordinated from above, overseeing communications and maintaining order among the forces. The teamwork between the human captain and the Violian princess was seamless, a blend of human ingenuity and alien discipline. The first encounter with the mercenaries was tense. The rogue ships moved aggressively, attempting to intimidate the smaller forces. But Aaron anticipated their actions. Using knowledge of the terrain, energy currents, and unexpected routes, the units moved with precision, creating confusion among the attackers. Lyra watched as soldiers followed his lead, adapting quickly and striking with accuracy. The mercenaries, expecting brute force or a traditional attack, were thrown off by the strategy. Panic and disarray spread through their ranks. By midday, the rogue faction's leadership was captured or incapacitated, and the remaining ships fled, their morale shattered. When the operation concluded, Lyra and Aaron met with the commanders. Soldiers cheered quietly in the distance, grateful for the careful planning that prevented unnecessary loss of life. Many came to Aaron to offer thanks and express admiration for his leadership. Even the most skeptical council members had to acknowledge his success. "You handled this brilliantly," Lyra said quietly as they walked through the recovered outpost. "You inspire confidence in those who follow you, and that is a rare gift." Aaron shook his head slightly, modestly. "I only do what is necessary. The real credit belongs to your people. They are brave, skilled, and willing to follow good guidance. I simply help them see a path that works." Lyra smiled. She knew he was sincere. That sincerity, combined with courage and intelligence, was exactly why she had chosen him. Not for rank, not for appearance, but for the strength of his character. In the following days, They returned to the palace to find that the success of the operation had stirred excitement across the kingdom. Humans were no longer seen as outsiders but as capable allies. Young cadets asked to learn more about human tactics, soldiers sought guidance, and even some council members began to voice support for closer cooperation with Earth. The ripples of respect were spreading, changing hearts and minds. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the crystalline towers of Vierlia, Lyra and Aaron stood together on a balcony. The city below was alive with lights and quiet celebrations. "The people are beginning to understand," Lyra said softly. "They see the value humans bring, and they see the wisdom and courage guided by intelligence." Aaron gazed at the horizon. "It is not just about humans or Virelians. It is about working together, sharing strengths and learning from one another. That is how we grow, how we survive, and how we thrive." Lyra nodded. She felt a deep admiration and trust growing inside her. This human soldier had proven not only his skill but also his heart. She realized that her bold choice was no longer simply personal. It had become a symbol for the kingdom, for the galaxy. Suddenly, a new alert arrived. Scouts reported unusual activity on the outer moons, strange signals, movement of unknown ships, and a pattern that suggested intelligence behind it. Lyra and Aaron immediately convened a council meeting to discuss the threat. "This could be scouts, spies, or even an early strike," Aaron said, examining the data. "We need to act quickly but carefully. Rushing in could be dangerous." Lyra agreed. "Then we will use the same approach as before: intelligence, strategy, and unity. This time we face an unknown enemy. We will learn about them before they can act against us." Over the next days, Aaron led reconnaissance missions, gathering information about the strange activity. He combined human intuition with advanced Virelian sensors to detect patterns and anticipate moves. Each night, he reviewed the findings with Lyra, planning a coordinated response. Finally, the enemy revealed itself, a fleet of heavily armed ships, far fewer than the Draxians but highly organized. They attempted to blockade a key trade route, intending to weaken the kingdom economically. Aaron studied their movements carefully. "They rely on coordination and intimidation," he said. "If we disrupt their patterns, we can force them to retreat without significant combat." Lyra watched as he implemented the plan. Small Virelian units moved in precise formations, cutting off supply lines to the enemy without direct confrontation. Human ingenuity blended with alien technology, creating a strategy that was effective and efficient. The enemy tried to adapt, but Aaron anticipated their moves at every step. Within hours, the blockade was broken and the enemy fleet withdrew. Casualties were minimal and trade routes were restored. Lyra and Aaron returned to the palace, tired but triumphant. The kingdom celebrated again, but this time, the victory was more than military. It was proof that humans and Virelians working together could face any challenge. That night, as they walked in the palace gardens, Lyra spoke softly. "You have shown our people what I saw in you from the beginning: courage, wisdom, and honor. You inspire not just soldiers but all who witness your actions." Aaron looked at her, eyes thoughtful. "I do what I must, but your choice, princess, gave me the chance to show it. Without your trust, none of this would have been possible." Lyra smiled, feeling warmth in her heart. "And without your actions, my choice would have remained just a dream. Together, we can shape the future of this kingdom and perhaps the galaxy." The twin moons reflected in the crystal towers, casting silver light over the city. For the first time, Lyra felt a sense of calm and hope. The kingdom had faced danger, tested its limits, and emerged stronger. A human soldier had proven that courage and intelligence could change minds, save lives, and inspire unity. As they looked toward the stars, both Lyra and Aaron understood that the greatest battles were not always fought with weapons. Sometimes they were fought with courage, wisdom, and the ability to see value where others saw none. And in that truth lay the promise of a brighter future together. The kingdom of Vyrlia had changed forever. Tradition had met courage, doubt had met skill, and skepticism had met human integrity. And in the midst of it all, Princess Lyra and Captain Aaron stood side by side, ready to face whatever the universe might bring next. The days after the Outer Moon incident were filled with a new sense of calm in the kingdom of Vyrlia. The citizens moved through the streets with quiet confidence, aware that their leaders had faced danger and emerged victorious. The council, once wary of a human soldier standing alongside their princess, now spoke of him with respect. Aaron had proven his courage, his intelligence, and his loyalty, and that proof could not be ignored. Princess Lyra moved through the palace with a sense of purpose. The recent events had strengthened her resolve, confirming that her choice had been right. She had chosen not out of defiance, but out of vision, a vision for a kingdom that could grow stronger by embracing new ideas and new allies. Aaron had exceeded even her highest expectations. They had returned to their daily routines, though neither could claim they were ordinary. Strategy sessions, training drills, and diplomatic meetings filled their days. Yet beneath the work, a bond was forming, quiet, steady, and built on mutual respect. Aaron admired Lyra's courage and wisdom, while Lyra admired his calm strength and unwavering integrity. Neither needed to speak of feelings. Actions had already spoken more loudly than words ever could. One afternoon, Lyra received news from the Crystal Expanse. The clans she and Aaron had guided were thriving in their new shared territory. Both sides were learning to cooperate, and conflicts were fading. Aaron had suggested ways to establish communication channels and resource sharing that kept both groups safe and productive. Lyra felt a swell of pride. Not only had her choice brought personal growth, but it had also created lasting change across the kingdom. Aaron stood by her side as they reviewed the latest reports. "They are adapting quickly," he said. "Humans would call it resilience. They are learning that working together is stronger than fighting alone." Lyra nodded. "I can see that, and it gives me hope. If cooperation can grow there, it can grow everywhere." Their conversation was interrupted by the palace messenger. An invitation had arrived from a distant planet. Its rulers wanted to meet Princess Lyra and her human companion to discuss a potential alliance and trade agreement. The message carried respect but also curiosity. Many in the galaxy were still cautious about humans, but Vyrlia's example was beginning to attract attention. Lyra read the message aloud. "They wish to see us. They want to witness what we have accomplished together. This is an opportunity," Aaron smiled. "Then we should go. But I am more curious to see how they respond to humans than to our plans." The journey was swift and smooth. Vyrlia's advanced ships traveled through the galaxy, carrying the princess and her companion to the neighboring planet. When they arrived, they were greeted with formal ceremony. The rulers were regal and cautious, their eyes observing Aaron as much as Lyra. It was clear they had questions, unspoken but evident. During the meeting, Lyra spoke of her vision for unity, of shared resources and mutual protection across worlds. Aaron contributed practical strategies, using examples from their past successes. His words were simple, honest, and effective. He did not boast or lecture. He offered solutions that were logical, fair, and achievable. By the end of the discussions, the rulers of the planet were impressed. They saw the results. A human had helped resolve disputes, prevent wars, and build cooperation. They realized that humans were not to be underestimated, and they agreed to consider alliances and partnerships with both Lyra and her human companion. As the delegation departed, Lyra turned to Aaron. "Once again, you have shown that courage, intelligence, and honesty can open doors that force cannot. You have made a difference not just for Vyrlia, but for the galaxy." Aaron's response was quiet but sincere. "I only do what humans can do when given trust and opportunity. Your choice gave me that chance, Princess. You made this possible. Lyra felt a warmth in her chest. The choice she had made, bold as it had been, was no longer a matter of personal defiance. It was a symbol, a testament to the strength that could be found in courage, respect, and collaboration. Back on Virlia, preparations began for a celebration. The kingdom would formally recognize the contributions of Captain Aaron, and the princess's choice would be honored as a vision for the future. Soldiers, cadets, and citizens gathered in the main plaza, eager to witness the event. The city shimmered with lights and decorations, and a sense of joy and pride filled the air. When Lyra and Aaron arrived, they were greeted with cheers and applause. The council, now fully supportive, stood with pride as the princess and her human companion approached the stage. Lyra addressed the crowd, her voice clear and confident. Today we celebrate not just victory, but courage, wisdom, and the power of unity. Captain Aaron has shown that strength comes not from birth, race, or species, but from the heart, the mind, and the willingness to act for what is right. Aaron stepped forward, his posture humble yet strong. "I am honored," he said simply. "I am not the only one who contributed. Every soldier, every citizen who followed a path of courage and honor played a part. We have proven that together, we can achieve great things." The celebration lasted late into the evening. Music and lights filled the city, but Lyra and Aaron remained quietly aware of the bigger picture. They had accomplished much, yet they both knew that the galaxy was vast, full of challenges and opportunities. Their work was only beginning. After the celebrations, Lyra and Aaron walked together on a quiet terrace. The twin moons reflected off the crystal towers, casting silver light across the city. The air was calm, filled with the soft sounds of wind and distant laughter. "You have done more than I ever imagined," Lyra said softly. "Your actions have changed hearts, saved lives, and inspired a kingdom. I am proud to stand beside you." Aaron looked at her with quiet respect. "And I am honored to stand with you, princess. Not just as a soldier, but as someone who shares your vision for a better future." Lyra smiled, a mixture of warmth and determination in her eyes. "Then let us continue together. There will be more challenges, more threats, and more people who doubt us. But we have proven that courage, intelligence, and trust can overcome fear and prejudice." Aaron nodded. "I am ready. Whatever comes, we face it together." For the first time, Lyra felt that the kingdom's future was truly in capable hands. Tradition had been challenged, skepticism had been met with skill, and humanity had earned a place among the stars. More than that, the bond between the princess and her human companion symbolized a new era, one where unity, courage, and respect could cross species and worlds alike. In the weeks that followed, Virlia saw a new era of cooperation. Trade routes expanded, alliances grew, and young cadets trained with renewed inspiration. Humans and Virlians worked side by side, learning from one another and building stronger defenses for the kingdom. Lyra and Aaron continued their work, guiding the kingdom with vision and collaboration. They were partners in every sense, strategically, diplomatically, and morally. Their example spread beyond Virlia, inspiring other planets to reconsider their biases and embrace cooperation over conflict. One evening, as the sun set in a blaze of gold and purple, Lyra and Aaron stood together on a balcony overlooking the city. Silence stretched between them, but it was filled with understanding. "You were right," Lyra said, her voice gentle. "Humans have qualities that can change the world. Courage, empathy, and ingenuity, they are not limited to one species, and you embody all of them." Aaron smiled softly. "We all have the potential for greatness, princess. Sometimes it takes trust, opportunity, and the right choice to bring it out." Lyra looked up at the stars. "Then we will continue to make the right choices together." And so, the kingdom of Virlia entered a new era, stronger, wiser, and united in ways that no one had imagined. The princess's bold choice had not only proven the value of humanity, but had also shown that courage and wisdom could overcome tradition, fear, and doubt. For Princess Lyra and Captain Aaron, the journey was not over. The galaxy remained vast and full of challenges, but together they had learned that unity, respect, and courage could light the way even in the darkest corners. They had faced danger, won hearts, and inspired minds. And in that victory, they had discovered something more profound: the power of trust, partnership, and shared vision. The twin moons rose over the city once more, casting their gentle light across the crystal towers. Lyra and Aaron stood side by side, ready to face whatever came next. The stars stretched endlessly before them, full of possibilities, and together they would meet them all. The story of Princess Lyra and her human companion had become legend. Not because of power or titles, but because of courage, wisdom, and the belief that even the boldest choices, when guided by the right heart, could change worlds.